Good evening everyone, welcome back to Witch in the Woods here on the Yogscast Complete Pack server. So last time we got into a bit of spirit binding, and I made something of a hash of it, which is to say that I tried to bind stuff that can't actually be bound. Turns out, despite their name, the spirits that you grab from the spirit dimension can't actually be sealed. In fact, you don't ever actually have to seal them. They're only sealed, so to speak, when you're actually making a full-blown fetish. If you're just looking to actually, like, grab the spectrals and bind them to spectral stones, then you're just looking at the banshees, the poltergeists, and the spectres. I wish this book was a bit more thorough about that, but it isn't. So, I have managed to trap a spectre, so we'll just use this as an example. So, got one spectre in here, and now this basically functions like a safari net, or a Pokeball, if you happen to be particularly of that inclination. So we'd right click, wait for that, boom, instant spectre, and he doesn't care the whit about me. He will care about other people, but not me. But now he's dead. So now we have an empty spectral stone. Now, the stuff that gets spawned out by the spectral stone seems to have like several hours of confusion attached to it. So I don't know if that's like a timer, because I am not waiting around several hours to see if they just like stop being nauseous or like go back into the ball. But supposedly that's what happens, and then we have an empty spectral stone again. So let us demonstrate actually sealing something. So let me see. Let's go with, well, let me see, what kind of protection bobbin? What kind of fetish do we want? Sentinel seems like a good one, so let's go with spectres. So to get spectre, we need wormwood, wool, bat, and graveyard dust. Easily done. Easily done. Because we have a lot of wormwood now, about 1300. So let's see, wormwood, and then spectral dust, and then graveyard dust. There we are. Already got one unprepared. Good. Oh. Hello, Bella. How are you? Oh, and there's the lovely full moon. Isn't it lovely? Okay. Now, I'm pretty sure that Putter should be fine here, although at some point I need to chuck a splash potion of healing at you, because you're not looking too fantastic. Or maybe I should genetically modify you. Would you like that? Would you like some genes? Yeah. No? Okay, fine. Stare at me angrily some more, why don't you? Okay, so we need to trigger this, and it's working. We just can't see it because the particles are turned off, because they're massively annoying when you have night vision. But eventually we'll see a spectre turn up. Oh, hello. And he will be plain as day against the sky blocks, that's for sure. So give it a moment.
Entered your channel.
Whoop. Seriously? I swear I mute that every single time.
Sound muted.
There. Okay. Well, we're still waiting. These do take a while, which is kind of a pain. I guess that's maybe the advantage of putting them into the stones. You don't really have to worry about them then. Although I'm quickly beginning to doubt whether it is actually working. So nope, it apparently decided it was going to break for some reason. That's an odd one. That is a very strange one. I legitimately have no explanation for that. That makes no sense. Wormwood, wool of bats. Oh, I think that was my mistake. Now, I should probably explain. I maybe haven't slept for a while, so, like, over a day, because I've just had things to do. Yeah. Right, so now we see what happens if you don't actually use the correct ingredients. As I say, you can put basically anything into a brazier, so occasionally you'll have an accident like that. Let's try this again, shall we? Okay, there we go. Turn my particles back off now. So as soon as this spectre turns up, we're going to be hitting this heart glyph, which will trigger this inner circle first, and then it will trigger the outer circle, which we need to contain it. Eventually. Very eventually. Because again, these spirits take forever to turn up. Okay, there he is. He's sort of a little out of the circle I want to contain him in. And he's being a little uncooperative as well. There we go. And... bingo! Okay. So, that is our spectral stone. Now, we only have the one spectre in here. I kind of have ideas for another one that we could catch, but we'll have to see how that goes at the end of the episode. But yes, that is how we managed to capture actually binding things. Poltergeists, kind of hit and miss. You just have to summon a lot of the spectrals, so a lot of spectres, a lot of banshees, that kind of thing. And then you'll maybe get a poltergeist. Now, it's worth noting that there is some slight disagreement on how to summon death, because binding the spectrals to a stone is how you summon us, is how you actually summon death himself. Now, the main way that I see batted around is that you have to try and fuse. Oh, hello, Iron. Fuse 5 or more spectral undead to a single stone, which would be fairly easy. There are some fairly cheap ones. For example, the spectres are pretty cheap to get compared to the banshees. What the wiki for witchery says is free of every spectral, so that's free spectres, free banshees, and free poltergeists, which are of course the hardest thing to get because they're random. But anyways, I digress. Let's see if we can't get a couple more spectres onto this stone. We won't be fighting death this episode, but that is coming swift upon us. And graveyard. 2, please. There we go. And let me see, I need the Boline. Need the spectral stone. And need some spectral dust. I'll grab 2 of that, because the other things don't get used up. Okay. And let's try and get these guys in as quickly as we can. So 1, 2, 3, and ignite. And while we're just waiting for these guys to turn up, I will discuss our current homework. So the homework was... okay, that went a bit funky. The homework this time around was Pet Sematary, and I got a little bit of extra time because I was very short of time at the end of the last episode. Is that still working? No. It's just being very strange for some reason. Whoop. Hey, don't budge, putter. That wasn't very nice, you know. Wasn't very nice at all. Now you just sit inside of this spectral stone and think about what you've done. Did I get... oh, right, does this thing has like a limit on its power supply, doesn't it? Oh, that's annoying. I am, just so I know, I am getting this right, because I'm highly liable to be getting this wrong now. Spectral Stone, Boline, 5,000 power. No, we should be fine. But what we can do whilst we're waiting here is just to get the other guys in. So, that is 1 more... oh, not the Spectral. Graveyard. You can get up to 3 at once, so you can theoretically get 3, like, Spectres in here and then just automatically bind all 3 of them into a Spectral Stone. So Pet Sematary, 1989 movie, definitely shows its age. Adaptation of a Stephen King novel. Now, there's been a few novels that have been adaptations, there's been a few Stephen King novels that have been adapted into movies, and they're kind of hit and miss. Carrie, for example, is a very famous one. The Shining is another one. I'm almost certainly getting that wrong, because again, I haven't slept in like a day. But what you then tend to find is that a bunch of them turned out to be pretty rubbish. So, yeah. So, for example, we might rank We might rank Pet Sematary being among them. Oh sure, I turn this off and then you immediately leg it. Could you hold still, sir? Unknown right? What are you talking about? Do I seriously have to bind all three of you simultaneously? Is that the jig here? Because that is going to suck. I guess I have to bind them all simultaneously? Why is that a thing? Why is that a requirement? That's awful. That's terrible. Oh well. We'll deal. We will deal. We have the technology. We are capable, therefore, of dealing. And by have the technology, I mean I'm blocking them in, if need be. But the trouble is one of them's out here, so... bleh. I know Efo just basically dug a hole underneath the brazier to get them in. Okay, so they need to be inside of this 11 by 11. So let me just guard them in a bit with a ton of abyssal stone, because I managed to grab this from a few geodes under the seas. So yeah, there's... Pet Sematary is considered by many to be a classic of the genre, and looking at it critically, you might be forgiven for wondering why. But what it actually manages to do is be sort of the perfect example of the group of idiots that have gotten themselves stuck inside of a horror scenario. So, sir, oh, that wasn't very helpful at all. Fortunately, you guys are easy for me to find. Is he in here? No, I don't think he is. I'm half expecting to just accidentally seal Putter into this. So you have the persistent bad decisions made by the parents. So, by the way, these parents are also possibly, like, the most flaky and sensitive and unreliable and all manner of things, like adults who you could ever find to potentially portray parents. Dude, come on, I just want you to come in here. I can't order you around, so come on, be nice. Play well. Or I could probably do this just the easy way and take off my necromancer's robes and see what happens then. Meanwhile, there's the other one. Okay. Yeah, we're probably gonna try that, because that's probably about the only way these guys will work. Okay. Come and get me, suckers. Ow. Where's my abyssal? There it is. Piece there. Ah, dang it. I can climb over this, you know. Come on. Both of you. Both of you in, please. Gotcha. Haha. You're not going anywhere now, are you? Okay, I'm gonna put this back on now. Right. Anyways, let's plonk this down. Whoop, need to wait a bit. There we go. So there is, happily awaiting, three different spectres. You can almost make out the yellows of their eyes. And let's see if we can actually get these guys to bind properly. There we go. What have we got? One spectre. What? But you wouldn't work before. Why? Huh? What is wrong with this thing? It didn't want to get even one of them before. Why is it? Well, this is going to be annoying, isn't it? Annoying and probably quite expensive. Anyways, fortunately we have plenty of spectral dust. So let me see. First, they decide to move into a house next to an extremely busy road, despite having children. Two very young children, as well as a pet cat, who has not as yet been neutered and therefore wanders. No, not you, Putter. Anyways. Unknown right? What do you mean, an unknown right? Like, I very well know that you can bind more than one thing to this. What do you mean, an unknown right? Grr. This is going to be a huge pain, isn't it? 5,000 ult power, spectral dust, Boline, spectral stone, binds up to 3 spectral creatures of the same type. I'm sure I did that. I'm sure I had that. Like, I don't know why it's being such a pain. Yeah. Right. Let's try this again. There's 1, 2, and 3 spectral creatures right in here. They're not going anywhere. They're right here. Come on, bind them for me. I will even make it easy for you. I will make sure they are all in the same exact spot. Ideally. Come on, move. Like, maybe that was it. Maybe they had to be, like, actually legit inside of the thing and not, like, outside of it. Come on. Oh, don't mind that. You'll be fine. Jeez, he really doesn't want to join, does he? I can't really leash you guys. Come on. Also, they pack a wallop because they bypass armor with their attacks. And, ooh, I'm looking fancy, either way. Come on. I need at least 2 of you just to prove my point here. I only see 1 of you. One there, 1 there. Close enough. I'll take it. Hey! 3 of them! Thanks, Meg, for that. Right. Means I can get rid of this ugly abyssal wall. Now, some people have mentioned using the Famcraft paving stones of warding, I think it's called. Which I will look into. But for now, we're just having to deal with this. So, yeah, joy. Yeah, they move into a house where they have clearly, like, highly dependent people right next to a massive, major, like, shipping lane, as near as I can tell. Then, the father just, like, follows his, like, aging neighbor, up to this weird Native American burial grind. I think they could describe it as Micmac, I can't remember. I don't know if that's even remotely true, but it's what they said, so I'll go with it. And bury their cat's deceased body there, and then he sees the cat has come back from the dead, and decides he's not going to tell anyone about this, even though it is acting basically as a personification of douchebaggery. Like, really, that's more or less all the cat serves to do for the rest of the movie, is just be an utter dick. Then, when his son, predictably, dies in what I can only imagine to be the most slapstick truck accident ever, namely because the kid looks perfectly fine when he's reanimated, even though we know from the mother and the cat that they retain injuries inflicted before death. The truck gets basically flipped upside down in this accident. Maybe you could argue it was the, like, driver swerving, but it was just utterly ridiculous, and I don't know how they justified it. Where's Putter? Putter! Oh, there you are. Hiding behind the brick. That's actually a remarkably effective place for you to hide. Wow. It's a little disturbing. Okay, so let's try and get ourselves a nice fetish. I am thinking that we go with the Trent fetish. What on? Okay, I'm gonna have to look into those later. So Trent effigy requires oakwood, rowanwood, tormented twine. I'm guessing all of these are gonna be, yeah, they all involve some degree of tormented twine. That is what we make from. Oh wait, no, witch's ladder doesn't. Oh, just requires fanciful thread instead. Oh. All of that basically requires a trip to the spirit world, unless... because I've been using an ender chest here. I wonder if I can grab it from in here. Almost is the answer. Almost. I need 4 disturbed cotton to get it, though, so a bit of a pain. So yeah, I guess we'll have to bind some to that later, but then the episode is running long. So the next thing is Pascal. who is basically just some random college-age kid who dies at the start of the movie, and then makes it his mission in unlife to help out the completely bewilderingly idiotic doctor. Which I wouldn't mind so much, except that there doesn't seem to be much rhyme or reason to his actual, like, abilities. Like, he shows up in what I can basically describe as being the look of his death mask. Like, half his head is cracked open, you can see his brains pulsating in there. Effects in this movie, by the way, are fantastic, I must say that. And then he just sort of turns up as and where he wants, he's cryptic as and where he wants, he travels, he appears, like, in a whole other state. And bearing in mind, Texas is a huge portion of the United Kingdom, that's quite a distance. Although he's then sat next to the wife inside of a plane. So, did he buy a ticket? I don't know. And, like, the level to which he can actually communicate with the living is really vague. Like, he can appear in person to the doctor, but the best he seems to be able to is whisper to the wife, and yet he pretty much just outright speaks to a car hire girl just randomly at an airport. It's absolutely bizarre. I don't know what the limits of his powers are, but they seem very arbitrary. And, like, he even shows up after he says he's out of time. Like, he says, goodbye, I'm out of time, this is the end of the line for me, that kind of thing. And then he shows up at the end of the movie. Just say, no, for the love of God, this is idiotic, why are you still doing this? It's utterly bizarre. It really is. So Pascal is just not a troll, as near as I can tell. Good effects, that has to be said. You will believe that a child got stabbed in the throat. So overall, I think Pet Sematary is utterly dreadful. The characters are absolute idiots, but they are such idiots to the point that you completely understand that they are horror movie protagonists, basically. Like, but they're, like, just, like, a couple of years older than they should be. They're usually, they set the standard for the idiotic high school, like, clique group kind of horror movie protagonists. That's how stupid they are. But yeah, I would say deserving of its cult status either way. Our next movie is 2008's Pontypool. It is billed as Zombie Plus a little bit. We should say it's more than just a zombie film. It's definitely worth checking out. I'd say it's kind of taking things from 28 Days Later in that it's kind of more rage than zombification, but either way, it's really fun. And it basically is adapted from a really old radio play. I'll talk more about that later. And there is also the matter that it is based around a group of DJs who are sort of just caught in the wave of this this apocalypse that starts happening, and they're not quite sure what's happening or why it's happening, all those kind of thing, and it's just really amazing. But anyways, I have to get another spectral stone set up, and I will see you in a quick moment. Catch you then. Yoo-hoo! Kyofushin-kun. You around? Okay, well. Let's see where he's hiding. Ah! Hey, how are you doing? So, I was thinking that we maybe got off to a wrong start. You know, you guys, you probably have some really, like, legitimate, arguments, and, oh, have you, Bella, that was not a great time. So, yeah, what I did to you guys was totally just, like, mean and cruel, and I imagine you're living in terrible circumstances right now, so I thought I would end it. I cannot believe that just worked. Suck it, you evil spectre ghost thing.